Mr. Norman.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Deputy Speaker. We face a world of unparalleled complexity and threat in our recent modern experience. And this is a world where if you scan from across Europe, Southeast Asia, the Middle East, there are threats emerging and threats already in place and recognized to which we as a nation with our allies must attend and deal. And we do so in an environment where the most powerful, or almost the most powerful of the many mechanisms that affect our lives is working every day. That is the effect of technology and changes in price. And the effect of those is to bring forward new ways of making war that might have been unimaginable 2 years ago. They have the effect of bringing new actors, private actors, not merely states, into the picture who might have been unimaginable just a few years ago. And so we see evolution rapidly occurring in the nature of the threat that we must deal with. Now, this report that the Select Committee, which I was very proud to join earlier this year, has produced, is, in my view, not just an exemplary piece of work, but testimony to the quality of a committee which, and I speak as someone who was on the Treasury Committee, no slouch when it comes to quality and expertise, for 5 years, and then chair of a Select Committee myself, I have been deeply impressed by the quality of the thought and the experience and the attention that my colleagues and their clerks have brought to these matters. And this report is a very good example of that. It brings out, crucially, some of the foundational assumptions that have not yet been adequately tested in our defence thinking. Not just our operational readiness, this being a report above all about our readiness, not just our warfighting readiness, but our strategic readiness, our capacity to think ahead of that escalating, multiplying, developing threat as to where it might be in future and how we can, in a full spirit of resilience, prepare for that. And so I congratulate the work that has been done on the committee hitherto, and I've been proud to be associated with it, as I have with the previous contributions to this excellent debate. Now, we know, because there's ample historical evidence, that democracies can fight wars with an intensity and an endurance that is not available to autocracies. But historically, it has taken democratic states time to get moving, time to move public opinion, time to bring the people that are the demos with the politicians, with government, in order to bring those full resources of a nation to bear. In the modern world, we may not have time to do that. We must start to prepare now, and not just prepare as a warfighting capability. And it's been rightly said and highlighted today that we are moving from a post-war to a pre-war world, not just in that sense, but also in bringing the need for resolution and resilience to the attention and giving it the public profile we need with people across this country. Now, it's not the first time that these matters have occurred. The House will well know. In the 18th century, a time when this country was more or less continuously at war with relatively small intervals, there was also a period where tremendous concern was given to the effects of commercial society, of peace. The worry that, as it was put in those terms, luxury and softness might yield to a loss of martial virtue. We must be aware of that problem. We see it everywhere. I myself was in Eastern Europe before 1989. I have experienced what it is like to live under a communist country and what it is like to live in the shadow of Russia. And I can tell you, it is nothing that anyone in this House should feel the tiniest appetite to even glimpse, let alone endure, let alone invite our citizens to contemplate, or indeed our allies. So we must be absolutely resolute in thinking about how that gradual process without loss of democratic values, without the loss of our constraints, can be brought forward to ready our people for the kinds of strategic decisions that in due course, and everyone in this House will know, we pray it will never happen, but to prepare ourselves for the possibility that there could be some development for which we are so far as yet inadequately prepared. And we must address that. We must address it as a matter of money, organisation, and of course talent. We must fill that strategic gap in our thinking, a gap which is only being accelerated by the rapid growth in artificial intelligence, a technology which threatens to upend not just many of the resources, many of the systems that we're using in this country, but much of the strategic thinking we are bringing to the whole question of what it is to be at war. And if you doubt that, look at some of the work that is being done. We've heard of Maskarovka, very rightly from my colleague, right on from Rayleigh, the use of AI in mimicry, in spoofing, in false flag operations is just something we as a country are beginning to get our head around, even, as it were, at an advanced defence and security level. So we have an escalating series of security challenges. Now, the solution to that is not more state as such. It's a much more intelligent deployment of the relationship between states and markets, between the public and the private, between the secret, the grey, and the not so secret. Because we've got to bring all those resources with us if we're going to be successful. And we've got to be more emphatic about the desperate need for competence. And that means competence not just in our civil servants and in our military capability and, of course, in the agencies that work alongside them. It's also competence in this House. It's also competence in this House. Our political parties have a responsibility to develop, to recruit, to enable, to understand, to enfranchise and to promote talent. And I put it to this House that no political party is doing this adequately at the moment. Myself, I think we should have chief talent officers in political parties. I think we should have people actively thinking where we can find competence, where we can find capability, where we can find knowledge, where we can find experience, and how we can deploy it into this great chamber in which we have the honour to sit. The deep issue here, if I may say so, is not just that we have a civil service, as my right honourable friend mentioned, that is preoccupied with process in a way that is understandable in peace, but I'm afraid inadequate to the preparation of war. It is not just that there is a preoccupation of process over outcome, when outcome is the only thing that matters when you're trying to deliver a capability. It is that we as a nation have not yet made that intellectual, moral, emotional, spiritual shift in deeply preparing for a pre-war situation. And we see that. The government has done a splendid, if I may say, make a party political point for a second, a splendid job in starting to take control of a very difficult fiscal situation inherited and built up through crisis over the last few years. But for what purpose? For what end? I tell you, we have come here, and the point has been made already, we do not come here, as was said famously by a man nearly, 250 years ago in Bristol. We do not come here as a congress of ambassadors. We come here as an assembly of representatives with the interest of one nation collectively to be deliberated. And that means that interest cannot be sectionalised. And it cannot be sectionalised within government. And I say this as a former financial secretary and my chairman as a former financial secretary. We do not say that this budget for defence should go up because we in any sense want to be profligate, want to have anything less than a proper constraint, a proper scrutiny of the long-term spending of this country. But it must go up. It must be shared across both parties. It must be something that even the Prime Minister and the Chancellor of the Exchequer should bear in their mind, should account for as if they were preparing for war in this chamber, so that we can all know that they have come to terms in their minds with the compromises, the difficulties, and the challenges that we all face today.